Hi everybody, Gary Sinclair. I want to ask you, what's your biggest regret? Or maybe I should ask, what are your major regrets? Many of us have at least one or two that stand atop our silly, misguided, hurtful, and or wish we could do them over moments, right? Yeah. You would probably be abnormal, I guess, if you didn't have at least a couple of past experiences in that category. We've all journeyed through the maze of regret sometime, maybe currently. And I'm pretty sure those regrets reside in one of several places in our brain or heart or soul. Some of us have worked on limiting their ongoing influence. Maybe we've had needed conversations, we've asked forgiveness of people, maybe we've been through helpful counseling or coaching, and that affirmed our ability to move on in spite of our unwise past interactions or actions. Yeah, that's a major step forward. But there's a second location, and it's what could be described as it's still getting into our head. We may have moved on physically and emotionally somewhat, but there's still a voice that continues to tell us about how one or more of those regretful memories has tainted our worth, value, and potential. And we think we're now never going to beat the charges against us. So we try not to think about what we've done or not done, but we just can't shake the words. In fact, that voice is often loudest when we're facing a current challenge to our personhood. Well, there's also a third location, and it's in our mental pile labeled, "I'm not going to deal with that, and I don't need to." And if we're at this level, we're probably focusing on excuses that we hope will just absolve us of guilt, cause, or need to consider the issues ever again. Unfortunately, regrets have a way of showing up when we least expect them. They're like these shards of glass, that would embed themselves maybe in us or some other person during a bad car accident. So let's say the doctors removed what they believed were all of the shards, but now and then a little one works its way to the surface, and it hurts. It's there. So what do we do with things in our past that we can't change and still influence us, causing hurt, doubt about our worth, and even shame? Well, first, I think we got to revisit Romans 8:1. This verse is amazing, but it's essential. Now there is no condemnation for those who belong to Christ Jesus. Did you get that? There is no, what don't we understand about no condemnation after we received God's forgiveness? Yeah, there may be consequences that can't be changed, but no more judgment from God. Jesus paid the penalty. It counts. And we might respond, yeah, but I don't deserve that. And you're right, I don't either. But when we accept this amazing truth that the condemnation is over, based on what Jesus did on the cross for us, then we can keep growing and getting help to move forward in a healthy way. We can speak back maybe to the condemning voices and live the life Jesus still wants us to live and be. Second, though, related to that, we just need to ask then God to show us how we can still be used and blessed. Because we can live realizing that our past doesn't own us anymore. It can still influence us, but it has no real power over us. And that leads to the final important step. We must go where we've been afraid to go. See, that means taking a first or next step that we weren't willing to take when we were haunted by our historical choices. And you know what? You can't go forward if you keep looking back. So this is going to take some planned, but best simple first choices with new thinking and subsequent actions that help us say, we can enjoy who we are and what God has called us to do in spite of our regrets. Ephesians 2:10 says, we're a masterpiece, though not perfect, made to do good things God planned for us long ago. It'll take time. It's okay. But maybe get someone to work with or alongside of you. Some would call this an accountability partner, but I'd rather call it a person who will be a remind you of your identity partner. Because they can help you, be accountable to some goals, but they got to keep bringing up who you are as a Christ follower, a child of God, not a reject. And eventually, your major regrets will include that you didn't start this process sooner. Oh, and probably that you spent so much money on those Taylor Swift tickets. Talk to you next time.